Hey, Sonograver here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another SuperCollider demo. Today I want to show you how you can loop audio files. I have the synth here, or synth def rather, for my drum kit. This is a loop by Stefan Torto. Go check him out. He's a great musician and electronic music composer. And I'm going to be looping this current drum file in just a second. A couple things I want to point out before I do that. The first thing is this envelope here. This is an envelope that does not release the synth. This is actually something to dynamically change the amplitude for a musical effect. I have that for my dynamic expression videos, which you can check out. The second is our PlayBuf UGen here, which we have our arguments, spelled out. You don't really need to spell out all these arguments, especially if you're using default arguments, but I like them spelled out just so I see what's going on. We have our number of channels. Here we have our buff number, which is set to 0 since I'm just using one sound file. And our rate, I highly recommend this rate. I've said it in a previous video, the buff rate scale UGen. You would like to scale it at its original playback rate, just so you don't get mixed up with different sampling rates, audio sampling rates and pitch changes and all that. So keep it nice and consistent. I like to keep the start position starting at 0, but you can really be flexible with where in the audio file you start. So depending, it's going to just start right at the 0th frame. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and evaluate that. And here's my kit. So this kit is running between 10 and 11 seconds approximately. Now, the playing stopped, but you can see that the synth up here in this white box here is still hanging around. And it's always just good to free your synths when you're done with them. I do not have an envelope to release this synth, and you will see why in just one moment. But the free, the dot free method works just fine. And once that's evaluated, that will clear up your group there. So let's go ahead and continue. We'll want to loop this drum track now. So let's go ahead and see what we have changed. Actually, it's not that much. After the start position of my PlayBuf UGen, I've just added a loop argument, and I've effectively named it loop. Loop equaling 1 means it's true. So the integer 1, if you want to check out PlayBuf here and check out all the arguments here, you have 1 meaning true, which means it will loop again and again, and 0 means false, which it will either stop the loop after it's played all the way through the sound file, or it won't loop at all. So I have it at 1 right now because I want to start the drum and have it loop for an amount of time. And it is modulatable, and I will show you how that works. So let's go ahead and evaluate that. And let's run it a few times. So this is, a little over 10 seconds, so I'm going to have it run a few times before I set the loop to 0. Second time around. Third time around, and we'll go ahead and set, using the set method. Let's evaluate 0. Okay, so the loop stopped, so that's very easy to control if you're working with something like a live performance or a recorded composition. Now, I still have to free the synth. We don't have any done action value that would help free the synth, so let's go ahead and just automatically, or manually rather, free that synth. Now, I wanted to make a comment on that. If you do want to use the done action, done action value 2, which would free the synth after the sound file plays, just remember it is only evaluated if the loop argument is 0. So if you want to loop, keep it at 1 for an indeterminate amount of time, then you wouldn't include a done action value in the PlayBuf UGen. And if you needed the synth def without the fancy amplitude expression envelope, this is fine. Just on its own. So a simple PlayBuf with all the arguments involved, and you are good to go. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Until I see you next, keep producing and experimenting that good music you love, and I'll catch you later.